that this needs to stop. We need to have like the mindset of the little Latino groups. They all have to come to grips. There has to be one agency, okay, you take care of this sector, you take care of this sector, and one person say, okay, your family member qualifies for this, and the other. Right now we have an opening here, and then, you need phone service, we need nursing service. We've got to consolidate. What if she didn't have children taking our days off? Okay, your turn to go down to that office and find out what they say. I'll take off next week to go to this office and see what they say. And then try to run through the legalese of, did I understand this? Because now it looks like I might need a lawyer. I don't know what I'm signing here. Yeah. It needs to stop. It is bad. And I know, again, Florida was the retiree state. People who had money had their home, and that's why they resented all people coming in here, because now they had to provide more schools. They only had school for the few kids that were around here, the kids, people in the richer areas. It wasn't meant for everybody to be in Florida. They were happy being a retirement state.
How's your mom in English? Is she perfectly?
I would say for her, for what she does, she's bilingual.
Okay. And would you say there are issues that you vote on that you would identify specifically as a Puerto Rican or as a Latina that are important for you?
Those are issues, like right now, the district drawing line, I was caught in the crux, because on one hand, I understand the damage done by gerrymandering. I saw it all those years in Osceola County. And I only use Osceola County because I worked there for so many years that I was more aware of how it worked in certain areas. I'm still not aware of my districts in Orange County at all.
Yeah, you really practically live in Osceola.
Yeah, even though I'm working, I live here, but my work there was I was so involved with so many issues and groups in Kissimmee that I'm more aware of their guidelines.
But about the gerrymandering?
But the gerrymandering, what got me was that I went to early voting, so one of the things that got me was somebody mentioned that the law, the way it was done, voting for it might actually work against us, because if they go by strict county lines, let's say Orange Osceola, if it's strict Orange County, we just divided that huge Puerto Rican nucleus, which means that now their voting force got diluted because they're, again, not represented in the majority population there. So now I don't know whether it was written, and part of my, we have my little conspiracy theories, somebody threw out one of theirs, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think of that one.
What was that?
In that the law was written deliberately to get people to vote for it, knowing it was going to hurt the specific groups they didn't want having power in the future. So it was deliberately done to water down the minority votes in those areas that would now not be a force to contend with, because they were doing what the law said, was to draw strict voting lines.
I think that one of the arguments for it, and this I heard from Latinos, but was that it would help to get more Latinos in.
That was
when
their
you got
excuse.
Everybody in one district, and you get one representative, that didn't get you very far.
Yeah, so we'll see how it plays out, because I've seen both ends of I didn't see through that one to see the possibilities.
Although the Democrats were pushing for it, and it's now going to be Republicans in power, so it's going to be hard to know.
Well, but it's already done. It's a matter of
how they
have to disclose it now more often, and maybe we do need to have an outreach of showing people how voting does make a difference, and you have to be informed. And honestly, what comes on the TV half the time, or the newspapers, a few people write their editorials here and there, but there's no honest way of getting information. Before you would get issues, here's the key question, answer it. Here's the key question, answer it. And then you read the answers and decide, I like the way they're answering, not answering. Now they chew it for you, digest it, and then say, this is the person for this. Well, can I hear the answer? I want to discern for myself. Am I hearing what you're hearing? So by the time you get information, it's already been scripted for you. So it's hard to really know who's standing for who. You could have a Latino a lot of times, and I'll be honest, if I have a whole bunch of people who's running for office, and in previous elections, okay, one Latino name, they got my votes. I'm tired of not being represented. But then I got to be careful that they don't wind up being the ones that put mud in our face again.
Yeah.
But, that's where sometimes it kicks in. It's like, I need representation. I'm voting for that person to get up there.
Yeah.
And and I'll draw the line. It's like, oh, you're not on my party, but you're Latino, you're going in. I'm done.
Okay.
I
mean,
need a face.
do that, just kind of vote as Latino?
Oh, yeah. If I have to choose eeny, meeny, miny, mo, okay. Unless I know that person, it's like, oh, no, you're not going in there.
Okay. So can you imagine voting against a Latino in favor of an Anglo if the issues were, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I've seen it all. And I think when you see people from New York, sometimes I watch the government channels, and it's interesting seeing Latinos saying things, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not the way I see it. So I'm not into we all see things the same way at all. But at the same time, we got to make sure those that don't know us realize you cannot say, I know, X amount of Latinos, so now I know them. No, you don't. Yeah. Because if you're from up north, if you're from the island, if you're higher income, it changes instantly how you perceive the need for certain things. If you're empowered via economics, or you are in a position of power that you have that kind of influence, then you forget what it's like to be in a position where you don't have that power, and how to protect people who have to fight to get some rights. You can no longer put us in a little box. We're not all from the projects, and all people from the projects are not the same. We have got to get out of that mindset, and I think once we get out of that, for example, we'll take Dr. Phillips High School. High-end school, very high-end socioeconomic district. I remember coming when I was in Florida, when I first arrived, one of the things they got caught in one of the original audits was a lot of the Orange County schools got caught in the same thing, asking for visas or proof ID pictures, and they would take picture of the picture on the visa or any other ID that clearly showed you were an immigrant, which is illegal because we cannot be an extension of INS. But the other thing that was really interesting was Dr. Phillips disowned the possibility that they had homeless children assigned to their school district. So the proof came in the pudding that you had people living in cars saying, we're district, we're here, this is where I was living. But since they had no proof of residency, Dr. Phillips wouldn't let them in. Because they didn't want those kids in there. Yeah. But where did Dr. Phillips get their eye opening? They didn't want Latinos, those ESOL kids. And they thought that being in a rich community, they wouldn't have to deal with it so much. The community around there was growing really fast. I mean, there was an era where really, when you think of the high-class housing that was available at the time for $70,000, $90,000 was a giveaway compared to what's happening right now. You see what I'm saying? Some of the families that were moving in there, that they assumed that because they were lack of English would be poor, were your Brazilians.
Oh, yeah.
They were business people coming up here, setting up shop, had the money, but the kids didn't know English. I even knew of many cases where the Brazilians deliberately set up shop, brought the kids up during, because they go to school on a calendar year. So they come up for February to June, that was their vacation time or whatever. It was a weird calendar year, just to get English classes for free. They didn't care about passing. And then the school was having problems.
So free, you gotta come here.
But they had businesses. They were here. They had a home. This was their investment.
Right.
They had nothing to lose. They were coming here, and the school was upset because the kids would leave and take the books with them, and they'd have to rebuy the books. That's why they came into charging for the books that were missing to try to get some monies. But then it gets muddy because legally you can't deny a kid a transcript or anything based on books that aren't charged. You can try to get some money back, but you can't deny them a transcript or a graduation diploma because you didn't pay back a debt to the school.
Yeah.
So sometimes they try to push that angle in some places. I've heard stories. But if the parent knows you can't do that, they will kick, So anyway, but they got a major ESOL moment in that they thought only poor kids. So they figured, okay, we'll keep the homeless out. But they couldn't keep the rich kids out because they didn't realize that. Same thing happened in Celebration. Yeah. Celebration swore they wouldn't have ESC and ESOL kids because they were rich. They forgot. You got poor kids and you got needy kids too with educational needs.
Well, yes, you could be. Yeah.
They completely forgot. They could not have the Stepford community,